comes out and he's now a musician and he uses the N-word religiously instead of his music towards his audience. Do you think that you would argue against Jesse Lee Peterson's use of the N-word as his audience is really? So you would think that wait, so is it okay? So that's enough. Even if they're using it towards an audience that directly it instigates racism, and for an individual that propagates racist narratives, like I'm sorry, I'm black and slow and things like that. It doesn't matter for him because just because he's black, it doesn't matter.
No. So listen,
I want you on record.
Wait. Did we?
This is absolutely so.
I thought this. I have a clarifying question. Just
go for it.
Just quick clarifying question. Did we not already say that like none of this conversation was like based off of like targeting people directly, like that we were already ruling that out as like not what we're talking about? Like for example, I do believe that like trans people have the right to reclaim the T-slur. But that doesn't mean that I think that it's an okay thing for like Blair White to call people the T-slur. Like we ruled out that like using it as a hate like.
I understand as a pejorative towards other, and I don't disagree with that.
So would that not be what you're talking about here?
Yeah, no. It's just, let's say he's using it in a generalized sense and just saying things like I'm black and slow, that like not using it necessarily as a pejorative, but just using it as with a negative. You would say whatever to that?
I mean, it's like me.
We would have a problem with his overall message in that situation.
Yeah, that's yeah. Like, see,
specifically the N-word. It would be the overall message that he's sounding like it's that's harmful towards black, like Candace Owens, right? So
Destiny's a baby. It's okay.
Specifically that word, and it wouldn't be an issue with that word. It would be an issue with the overall message.
Everyone will see these things.
Is the negative utility generated by Jesse Lee Peterson's statements in that, let's say he comes out with the his albums, he drops them, is the negative utility generated larger as a result of him using the N-word in that given context?
I don't know, not necessarily. Like I don't think
really?
I don't think him using the soft A would make it like something worse than like whatever the overall message is in the word. I don't think that the N-word is some sort of multiplier or amplifier.
Hold on. Okay, great. Why?
I just answered it. I don't think that the N-word is a multiplier or an amplifier of an individual message.
Yeah, why? Why
don't I think that the N-word is an amplifier or a multiplier?
Correct. Because it tends to be.
I don't know.
Because it tends to work that way. If a white person says, if I hate you, black person, that's not going to take as much negative connotation as I hate you, N-word. No? It's usually a force multiplier because we take it as one of the most harsh things yet. Wait, yes. Wait, hold on.
I'm so
Can I get you on record?
Confused.
Can I get you on record?
Get me on record. So if a white person was to make this statement, like I think all black people are less than human and they're animals. I don't think it would be significantly. I don't think it would be like a reduction from. I think N-words are animals. Like I don't like are less than human.
I don't think that's what relevant is saying though. Relevant. I think please correct me if I'm wrong. I'll go right back to you. I think he's talking about not like simply for an overt statement. That one, it's like saying black people are animals is you're getting your point across, right? There's not much to multiply there. But it's talking about like within any other statement, with any other context, right?
Give me an example then, because I don't know what he's talking about. Give me
one. Like I hate black people music, right? And then you say like I hate N-word music. Like that's on a different level, right? Like, all right,
wait, with the hard R or the soft A, just so we know.
It doesn't matter.
I want to go really quickly, Destiny.
I agree with that, Prime.
I want to point out really quickly. So even within black people, a lot of black people don't know a lot of local artists, right? So I've had this experience myself. So I was raised in obviously Los Angeles area, and there was an artist named DJ Quick. He was literally on all the radio stations.
He
literally completely ran this area down here. He was on all the promos for 92.3 The Beat and all the other major radio stations for hip hop in the IE and LA area, right? He was particularly well known. I was completely shocked when I talked to
I'm still going, y'all.
And they've literally never heard the name. It's because he was a local artist. But consequently, they were also doing the exact same thing to me. And they were telling me about all of the big hip hop artists in New York that were in that scene that I was not particularly familiar with at all. Because at the end of the day, the vast majority of hip hop consumption is local artists, specifically aimed at specific local communities.
I mean, that's true.
Sure, I don't deny that might be possible. I don't have the sample. I'm sure a lot of white people consume music too. I know that like in Chicago, fucking No Name she was underground before she started to get picked up a little more. She almost fucking quit making music entirely because she said all of her audiences were fucking white people. Like, and she was so fucking sick of it. So like, I don't know. I can't say honestly because I don't go to any fucking concerts. I hate concerts. But like, it wouldn't surprise me that if I went to like a lot of local hip hop artists, unless you're talking about people that literally play shows for like 10 people in somebody's garage, probably going to be some white people there. Would be my guess. Maybe even a lot of white people, depending on how big the local artist is.
I'm a little lost as to the hypothetical.
Yeah,
relevant. Yeah, we are. It's going so far, man. It's going so far. Like, so what's your point exactly? Can you say it succinctly?
Okay, so I just want to touch on a point that I constantly hear brought up, and then we'll bring it right back to my original point. So the constant point that's brought up about the local artists and hip hop being made, the vast majority of songs in hip hop and rap being made towards Black communities does not really get to the point being made here. It's primarily at that if that was enough of the argument and we could leave it there, then we would say, well, when they blow up, when these Black artists blow up, why do they constantly use the N-word in that way when it's a much larger white audience?
Welcome.
That's more of the question. So you can't say, well, yes, a bulk of it is made for local audiences, and so therefore, right, it's primarily targeted towards Black audiences. No, when it distributes to the greater wide world, Drakes and what have you, that have literally a global reach to people that have never seen a Black person in their entire life, then you can't really give an excuse for that, because at that point he's no longer catering specifically towards the Black audience, and you would have to say, okay, so let's take a look at his work. I don't really like allow me to just get back. Well, so I'm about to get back to my original point. So if I don't know, Prime, if you want to,
please
take this.
Thank you, Sad
All right.
Sam,
so my original point of bringing up the discussion in regards to
Professor,
whether or not Jesse Lee Peterson and the force amplifier or the multiplier for the N-word or what have you, is because if you don't believe the N-word is a multiplier in multiple XYZs of the situation, why are we even upset about it? If you're upset, the reason why I'm personally upset about the N-word is because it is a force amplifier, because it has a unique force amplification whenever it's put inside of a situation. If it meant something no different than I don't like Black people, I would consider it the same level of condemnation as I don't like Black people. But that there is a unique vitriol when it comes to the N-word. So I don't think you can simultaneously hold the statement that the N-word is not a force amplifier and have this whole discussion in the first place, because we don't have this.
That's contextual, and again, that's going back to what we already discussed before you joined the panel, right? Like, we already agreed that like using it directed at an individual is I'm not even talking about that.
Yeah,
but it's not necessarily always a force amplifier. Like, for example, I've been thinking right now of like, okay, look, I got a lot of problems with like Blair White and stuff, but if Blair White released an album in which she drops the T slur, like just like, I'm a whatever, like, T slur, and like, that's not gonna force amplify anything at all from Blair White, because she is. And she has experienced that, even if I think she's shit as fuck. Like, but now, of course, this context would change if she was using it against somebody else, and she has, and I would agree that, as we all already agreed before you came on the panel, that using it directly is a unique circumstance because it is being used to direct animus directly at somebody. I don't think that in and of itself it's always a force amplifier. I just don't. I think maybe to some degree, but not necessarily to the same degree. I think it's like
swear words. Like, the word fuck is like generally a force amplifier. There might be ways when you don't use it, but basically any statement where you use that in addition to whatever you're saying, usually you're like upping the severity of the statement in general. We can probably imagine ways where that doesn't happen, but I think in general that's usually how these types of words are used.
True, but we're talking about different degrees. Remember that the original conversation we were talking about is white people using the N-word, or in this case, or if we're going to talk about my situation, because you asked me for if there was a similar for me. A non-trans person using the T slur. I mean, I can actually think of some examples in which this happened. And like, God, like, I don't know, like the whole fact of the matter is that, like, there is a context difference when you don't come from that community, when you don't have that history, when you're not identified with that group. We recognize this, right? Like I feel like we all would normally recognize that this is the case. And then like for this conversation, we've suspended that, but we acknowledge that it is different when a white person says a word that is deeply, deeply associated with white oppression or
so
vice
irrelevant,
versa.
irrelevant. Then go to Fanatic because I want Fanatic to really answer this.
So if the argument is that because it stems from my lived experience or some negative repercussions inside of my given lived experience, and that therefore I can throw kind of negative utility to the wind, meaning that if there is a greater body of people that are consuming whatever it is, the media that I'm distributing, and using that as carte blanche to be able to use the word or whatever phrase that I'm talking about, and that's fine. Let's just keep it on the N word. Like, that's fine because it's my given lived experience. Then I'm just genuinely curious, like, what basis do we have? Because this was my argument, or the foundation of my argument for responsible platforming when it comes to politics. So if I, as a Black person, have, because of my lived experience, essentially a green card to be able to just say whatever I want in regards to my lived experience, regardless of worrying about my rhetoric, I find it pretty interesting. And I genuinely think I could find a couple people's tweets inside of this chat room in which they criticize certain people for the way that they speak about their lived experiences in XYZ category, Blair White or Jesse Lee Peterson, Candace Owens, or something like that. I'm sure I could find some statements from some of you that criticize their rhetoric in regards to their lived experience and how they portray it, or the types of terms that they use in portraying it. Because otherwise, if your statement is genuinely that I can use the N-word regardless of, on the basis of my lived experience, regardless of the negative effect that it may cause the general public, I mean, how could you criticize my rhetoric in regards to my own lived experience?
I think this is not the same argument. And I can explain something.
Let me respond. Thank you. So, like, if we take you guys' arguments to its end, basically what you're saying is once Black music starts getting consumed by a larger audience, it has to become more inauthentic. So as to be able to be consumed by other audiences, and then that would alienate them from their fans and alienate their artwork. It would water down their artwork to where it no longer represents them. And I think that's probably really harmful. The idea that now we have to curtail our artwork and make sure that now we're no longer making the art that speaks to us and our lived experience and our culture and our in groups and our community and all those things, specifically because, well, now that white people are starting to consume it, you guys got to just stop, because otherwise then they're going to start being harmful for that. I think that's a little bit ridiculous. Furthermore, I don't think no one ever said that Black people can just say whatever the freak they want with it whenever it's in their lived experience. I think that's a bit hyperbolic. This conversation has been really confined and constricted to just the N-word. So taking it to all of these other extremes does nothing to the actual argument. That just sounds absolutely ridiculous.
Well, and if I could respond to that real quick.
No.
We're not.
Why am
I'm not going to say it.
Why am I even here?
When we're talking about
point?
Candace Owens and her speaking her lived experience and stuff, it's not about like her speaking her lived experience. It's that a large portion of her lived experience is directly empowering to the white experience and directly in contradiction to what the average Black person would say.
No, I want to respond to something that was asked of me directly.
I know we're not a monolith, but we do have pretty things that we're all pretty common about, that we all understand that racism is still real for the vast majority of us. Now, you do have your Jesse Lee Petersons and those Hodge twins or whatever those niggas' names are, or Candace Owens. You have those different people, but in general, what she's saying, the general messages that she speaks are typically what we consider to be harmful. It's not individual things that she's saying, or it's not just that, oh, well, you're speaking your lived experience. It's that you're speaking something incredibly harmful that largely deviates what we believe is her lived experience, as clearly represented by the fact that she was really willing to sue niggas for racism in high school, but then still saying, I never experienced racism because I just never cared about it. So yeah, it's about the direct contradiction of her lived experience to what
I agree with Fanatic.
And what it sounds like is her tokenization and empowering the voice of whites and saying all of the white things that white people wanted to, that some of the more racist white people wanted to say, and using that in her platform.
No, I get it, but I also want to be able to respond to a question that was asked of me.
How do you feel about Lil Peep? There is a lot of controversy. So, especially in emo rap, I hate that I know this because I hung out with some people that listen to a lot of this horrible fucking music. But so in a lot of emo rap, and then Lil Peep especially, a lot of that rap is talking about his lived experience. And a lot of that lived experience includes a lot of drug usage, a lot of really bad drug usage. And this guy literally OD'd on, I think it was benzos and like fentanyl. Or he had like a Xanny that was like cut bad or with fentanyl. He killed himself by overdosing. A lot of people point to the fact that like this type of music is literally like encouraging like a reinterest in things like benzos for people to abuse. Do you think that him talking about his lived experience and glorifying like that type of abuse of like benzos and shit is that's like an okay message when to put at his fans because it's his lived experience? Does he have like no responsibility for that? Or I'm just curious.
Wait, is this directed at me or no? Because I feel like I was asked a question.
But that's fine. Go ahead. I would imagine Destiny's talking to the black guy and asking this question specifically.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious if it's the same as how you feel for like stuff related to like the N-word.
Yeah, so I think there's a very big distinction there, but yes, I would agree with you.
Okay, this is getting really weird, champ.
Would probably be
it's getting like really weird, champ.
That it would cause large amounts of harm, and that like obviously youth are like particularly impressionable and like all of those things, right? And so yeah, in general, I would say that there is something to be said for being responsible about what your message is.
I love that like Destiny has been driving this, but if I try to say something,
I think that when you have things
like
that are
I'm doing bad or something,
that are really understood within culture to be something very different, depending on the mouth that it's coming from, such as the N-word, that you're no longer having to be responsible in the same sense of trying to protect these people.
Like Destiny literally came on this panel to argue in favor of using the N-word. Like,
shouldn't be using
what?
those words. Whereas when it comes to something,
because it feels like we still argue about it all the time.
So I need to stop you. Are you literally trying to make the argument that white people don't know that it's not acceptable to say the N-word?
Yeah, I'm saying that the rules around all of that, like when Obama said it, people lost their fucking minds. Like, I'm just saying that, like, I don't think it's fair to say, like, oh, well, it's clear cut, like, what's going on. Like, it seems like there's a lot of people, like, we talked about the girl that went on Kendrick's show. Like, I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of, like, argument or debate or confusion over. Whereas there's not around, like, other words. Like, nobody's arguing they should be able to use, like, Asian slurs or Hispanic slurs. Like, nobody says anything about that, right? It seems like this word is, like, particularly polarizing or particularly confusing in terms of, like, what the rules are around its usage. Wait, especially because, well, God,
I mean,
so it sounds like you're really trying to push some like really smarmy narrative here, and I
don't call it smarmy.
Yeah, I am.
I'm not being smarmy. I think everything I'm saying is pretty on point. I don't. Now I could.
Not on point. So if we were to poll the average person, you're going to tell me the average person doesn't know. Okay, let's ask you this: do you think that the average person would feel comfortable using the N-word, like the average white person would feel comfortable using the N-words around black people that they don't know? Do you think the average person would feel comfortable using the N-word around black people they don't know? Really simply, yes or no?
No.
The average. Okay, so then it's not really contested.
Oh, but that's not what we're talking about, though. That's not what we're talking about, though. How about this? How about this? If we were to poll somebody, do you think it's possible to use the N-word in an endearing way more so than like the G word for Asian people or the wetback word for Hispanic people or any other slur or the T slur for trans people or the F slur for gay people? How many more people do you think would be like, oh, well, the N-word is probably more acceptable there than any of those other slurs? Most people probably say, oh my God. Okay, I can't. All right, okay.
Let me respond.
I don't think you're actually engaging with the conversation. I don't believe that you actually can respond that way.
Hold on. You can't tell me I'm not actively engaging in the question if I'm literally responding to the words
you're saying. This is so weird. I don't
understand you fully. I think you just don't like my argument. You just don't like my answer. But it's okay. Like you said that you like this conversation or whatever. Here's a black guy to actually explain to you the way most black people think. We're not a monolith, but just based off of conversations that I've had with people in my community and within my culture, this is something that's reasonable. So don't shirk away from the conversation. But it's really simple.
I mean, I can handle it. I'm tough. I'm just like, what?
The average person is going to look at the N-word and say that it's less harmful, or I'm sorry, that the N-word is less.
I did have dinner, yes.
Than all of these other
some
words.
time ago.
I do recognize that most people would understand
some
that
time
the
ago.
N-word can be used for a euphemism amongst black people, sure, but I don't think that most people would look at the N-word.
No, Prime does not have a co-host.
Than all of the others.
I'm not talking about like the N-word. I'm not talking about in terms of less harmful. I'm just talking about in words that have been reappropriated. One of the things that people keep talking about here, which is very interesting to me, and I fully admit it could just be different lived experiences. People oftentimes throw around this term like slur reclamation. People will talk about this. I honest to God think that like when you talk about the N-word, it is way more this word than any other word. Now, it might be possible that different communities act in different ways, but like I have a lot of personal trans friends that will never say the T slur. That is not a part of their normal vocabulary, even amongst other trans people. They're not calling each other the T slur all the time. I've known a few gay people that use the F slur a lot. generally when I was younger and I was in very conservative communities. I don't know if that's like an internalized thing or if they just generally liked it, but like I don't think that gay people walk around calling each other the F slur as much, or trans people call each other the T slur as much as black people use the N slur, like or the soft N soft A or whatever. I think that the status that these words have, or Asian people call each other the G slur, whatever, or any group of people. I think that the N word, in terms of like slur reclamation, has a very unique place in society compared to any other slur for any other group
here at this point.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Craziest thing I can think of was queer.
I want to give Relevant a chance to speak. Go ahead, Relevant.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna head off here soon.
When it comes to specifically the slur reclamation and previous points and stuff like that, because there were some things I hadn't addressed, but like I want to address the rhetoric point yet again.
That's fair.
A little bit.
Maybe
I
don't know anymore.
If I don't have to worry about because I have a lived experience, we'll stick specifically with the N-word. I don't have to worry about the negative messaging that I portray based on my use of the N-word. And regardless of negative utility, then like I don't understand how we could hold this position yet again with our positions on responsible platforming as political streamers. Because I, as a political streamer, my basis with which I make my argument for responsible platforming of specific words is that specific words are, when tailoring towards a given audience, may not understand the full body of context with which the word might be used. If your argument, Fanatic, is that all white people know that not to use the word, then why would using the word negatively impact
Send that to me, 85
regardless of whether or not they were black or white? Why would that negatively impact the utility of broadcasting that message? Meaning
what do you
that, like,
okay, I'm sorry.
Right. So let's say a white person uses the N-word on.
Yeah, I'm getting out of here. This is a waste of my time.
And everybody knows, by your argument, everybody knows not to use it anyway. A white person uses it on screen, right? Versus a black person using it on screen. What is the difference?
Well, so if simply because most people know not to do something doesn't mean that people don't do taboo things, and doesn't mean that some people don't decide to be edgy or decide.
I don't know.
Correct.
It's been very weird.
People know they're not supposed to cheat on their wife, but people do it. It doesn't make it any less of a problem. So the fact
I agree. That's my point.
So the
That's
fact that the word is
point.
taboo. So the fact that the word is taboo, and that
our Relevant agrees with Destiny here.
The vast majority of white people know that they shouldn't be using the word. Simply pointing out to the fact that why does occasionally some white people do it? I don't know, how does that detract from the idea that most white people know that they shouldn't, and that it is still harmful when those individual white people that make the decision to do this thing that we know is taboo, like why would that?
Why is it?
I'm not muted right now. I just can't say anything.
By that same argumentation.
We've really gone through this argument very, very much, and I don't want to get circular here. I'm pretty sure Destiny has heard this argument enough to be able to understand the idea of shared oppression and the automatic presumption of not meaning it in a harmful way. Okay. But I get you are here for that conversation. If you need me to go back through it,
I know that conversation. I was literally listening for an hour before I came on.
Oh, okay. So then if you want to be asking the question to
the reason why is because I want to hear you say it, because again, you're going to contradict your previous statement, in my opinion, or at least the general public will feel like you're about to contradict your previous opinion.
The general public,
if you specifically are making the argument that, hey, just because, like, I as a person, let's say I'm a white person, taking in the fact that a black person has a lived experience with the word, as you said, correct? One of the reasons why it's more palatable is because that black person has a lived experience.
It is now, yeah, but it wasn't before, Gene. It was fun.
Could look at somebody like Jesse Lee Peterson using the N-word inside of a song or what have you, and say, this is a black person with the lived experience of using the N-word, and the context that he is using it is not in a good light or a negative light of the black community, and that could reinforce my position of being able to use the N-word in a unique way that a white person could not fulfill. Do you believe that that could be the case?
I am so terribly sorry. I'm having a hard time following.
Okay, I can restate. Yeah, it was a little bit long-winded. So a white person using the N-word, by your own statement, does not have a lived experience with the N-word. Correct?
Right.
So therefore, right. Sure. Yeah, correct. So you're saying it's wrong for them to say it. That's fine. Let's say a black person, now Jesse Lee Peterson, goes on to make a bunch of albums and use the N-word in negative connotations, not necessarily pejorative, but like dog whistly, like replacing with like thug and things like that, what have you. In those given contexts.
I'm so fucking
Do you think that a white person consuming both of those types of media could take away different results. One where in which they look at a white person using the N-word and be like, yeah, that's not the best thing in the world. Clearly they're white. But they could also look at the black person and say, this black person, like you said, has a lived experience with the N-word and is still using it in this context. Surely that must mean that it is okay or somewhat permissible to be able to use it in a similar context. Do you believe that a white person could take away with that? Take away that kind of...
This is so convoluted, but it sounds to me like, let me make sure I'm understanding your question.
Holy fuck! I'm going to commit last online 12 years ago.
In a really negative way, right?
Yeah.
Would the white person look at Jesse
Yes, we will.
usage of the N-word
because I need to get my thoughts out on this before I go to bed.
Okay, and therefore think that they could say it.
See you, Glooby.
And
Rest well.
And
Don't
think
worry.
that it is
Don't
more
worry.
okay to say because a black person is saying it.
He's asking about tokenism, like Milo Yiannopoulos saying gay people or Blair White hurting transgender people. Like, yeah.
Can I say one thing? Because I got to get out of here. Like, this is starting to get to the point where I'm actually hating this conversation. It was very interesting earlier, but this is fucking ridiculous. Like, it makes no sense to me. This is so circular. Here's all that I'm going to say, okay? And y'all can keep arguing or whatever. Like, I don't have all of the input. I only can speak for my own personal experience. By and large, by the way, I agree with you, Fanatic, just for the record, for almost every point. There is to restate my earlier point, I think there is an obvious contextual difference between a person of a historically oppressed group using a slur that has been used against them for their own purposes, taking control of that, and some random other person who doesn't belong to that group further using that to further reinforce that hatred on them. I think there's an obvious contextual difference there that we've just been ignoring. Now, the other part of that is that we're not talking about not being able to criticize any person who's a member of a minority group. Like, I don't know how we got to this. The fact of the matter is, I think that there is a negative utility, you can call it that, whatever you want, from saying as a rule that that people can't reclaim slurs that are used against them. And there are lots of communities, by the way. I don't know exactly how it compares to the N-word, but there are all kinds of slurs that get repurposed. And I'm a trans woman with a lot of trans people in my life and a lot of gay people in my life. And there's a lot of slurs thrown around lovingly to one another in totally, quiet, personal, whatever. So what I'm trying to say is that, like, I think there's obviously a contextual difference here. We're not saying you can't criticize anybody, but there is a negative utility in restricting people from being able to reclaim those things for themselves, especially when it is initially used as a tool of oppression in the first place. And I don't really think that whether JLP or whatever uses it in a song especially given that we're not talking about using it directly against somebody, really matters all that much. So that's my final word on this. My name's Demon Mama. Thanks for having me on the panel, Prime, and I'll see you soon.
DemonMama.com. Go to DemonMama.com. Thank you.
You got it. See ya.
Yeah.
Okay.
Holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. Holy shit, everybody. Oh my god. Fuck. Oh my god, I have 10 million DMs. Yeah, no, I'm not fucking ending, by the way, yet. I need to talk about this. That was one of the stupidest endings. Oh god, we had a great stream. What a fucking fantastic stream, but what a what a fucking annoying conversation. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just tired. Like, what the fuck? Like, I feel like at the end, it was literally like delirium. Like, it was just what was anybody even saying anymore? Like, Destiny just really wants to say the N-word. That's the takeaway. Destiny fucking really wants to say the N-word, and I don't get it. And the fact that we had that entire conversation without acknowledging that there is an obvious contextual difference between a white person saying a slur that was historically used by white people against black people versus a black person reclaiming the use of that slur in a non-directed context. I don't know. Like, what the fuck? Like, I just feel like this was obvious. Yeah, like I just feel like we were being taken on a goose chase, right? Oh my fucking god. Oh my god. No comment. No comment. Listen, the earlier conversations were fantastic. I had a lot of fun. And I think the path of peace has been forged, hopefully. And I don't mean that Vosh and Vivian need to be friends or anything like that, but hopefully there can be a ceasefire. That's what I hope for. The path to peace. Listen, I had a lot of fun with that motherfucking conversation until the end. Yeah, look, Vermin, I understand. Listen, we have different experiences, and I can understand that frustration. I mean, literally, Vivian owned up to having a personal dislike of Vosh, but it did sound like Vivian was at least willing to consider like a ceasefire. Okay, I do think that Vivian came off not so great in that particular section, but it's okay. This all happened because Vosh brought up Destiny? No, not today, not today, Vosh. This happened because of me. All of this happened because on the original trans panel, I threw down the gauntlet. I challenged them to a debate afterwards. That debate led directly to a bigger conversation, and then my drama got brought up, which meant that Destiny tuned in to watch when my drama started, and then Destiny came in. When Destiny came on, Vermin went to Vosh, and then Vosh came on. But it was me. I told you guys, I literally, when you see the VOD, I looked over and I said, I'm going to throw the gauntlet down. Chat, I'm going to make the challenge. There's going to be blood tonight. There's going to be blood tonight. I said that into the camera, and you will see it on the VOD. I just made a fucking month of content for Twitch, okay? I just want you to all recognize that. Not only did I motherfucking make my own content, I made content for the entirety of the Twitch political sphere. And that, my dear imps, is hell energy, okay? That is hell energy. And I dropped the most base takes of the entire day, and you all motherfucking know it. So I hope every single one of you still watching at this point are subbed. Yes. Oh, of course we'll be putting... I can't do the FMAB review right now. I feel like I'm going to screech. Time code 122640. 122640, Alora. 122640. True. The AD5... Listen, none of this would have happened if I hadn't received the AD5D2D Derek streamer victory... stream quality content award. I can't right now, Hexagram, but I can in the future. Yeah, it's true. You absolutely fucking good fucking job, Silent. Holy shit, this was a fucking gold mine of... Oh yeah, hold on. Listen, I'm gonna send off the stream with a treat for the fans. Okay, everybody? I'm sending it off. A treat for the fans. Give me a second.
Hello. Yes, baby mama has arrived. Today, we rose hell! And you know it! You know we did it! It started with the all-trans panel. Then I threw the gauntlet, and I promised you blood. And you got your blood! Did you not? Are you not entertained? All I'm gonna say, though, listen, I'm gonna turn off the voice for a second.
I just want to tell you all, listen, we're going to have, how many viewers we got right now? How many fucking viewers we got right now? We still got quite a few. We got 228 viewers. All of you who are watching right now, I just want to take one self-indulgent moment. Okay, this whole last few segments has been self-indulgent, but I've been making content for you all for 12 and a half motherfucking hours. Okay? So you can allow me 1 minute to be super self-indulgent. Okay? Approximately 1 year ago, I started streaming. I started streaming after having been a fan of streamers, watching all kinds of people on the internet. And some of those people that I watched was, Vosh, the Surfs, the Majority Report, a lot of different people that I watched. I have now been on multiple panels alongside Vosh. I've gone up against Destiny. I apparently have the entire hate of DGG. 1 fucking year. I'm just telling you all, listen, I'm now somehow found myself in the part of round 2 of the N-word Andy saga. The serfs came into my chat, which is amazing. So I just want to take a moment and celebrate that, because you think this is awesome. You guys just wait. You wait to see what I have in store for all of you in the future. Mama stock is going whoosh, way up. And y'all are here right now. A year from now, this channel is going to be fucking bumping. And you guys are going to all be like, yeah, I'm an OG Demon Mama imp. Been around since the old days. Been around since the days of the broken chair and the shitty mattress. Remember when they said I was going to have 100,000 subs by the end of the year? Oops. Oops. Whoopsies. Whoopsies. Thank you very much, 5Meow. Thank you very much. And also, thank you so much, Pie All the Time. Just saying. All right. Tonight has been an absolute blast. Today was a legendary stream. And the content that we will be getting from this is going to last for quite a while. I know, I only have 7K subs. Isn't that strange? Isn't it weird? But listen, one thing you should know about Demon Mama. Demon Mama does a lot with a little. That's what I do, okay? I make miracles happen with little shit. Little bit of stuff. My crappy room, my generously gifted camera, which before was my phone. I do a lot with a little. No. My chair is not broken. That's the chair that's broken. That's the old broken chair. Stream, the imps bought me this chair. This chair was bought by the imps. This one is good for my back. I would literally not be able to do this if it wasn't for this fucking chair. Are you fucking kidding me? My back would be dead if this was my old chair. I'm not kidding you. This chair actually fucking, I sit up straight all day, every day. My back is fucking strong because of this shit. Now, just watch. You know, this shit's gonna be the talk of the town. Think of the spice that happened today. We had the spice in the trans panel. We had the spice in the post-trans panel. We had the Destiny trans spice. We had the Destiny Vosh trans spice. We had the Vivian versus Vosh drama being aired out live on the air. And then we had the beginning of the N-word Andy saga, which was somehow more crazy than the last N-word Andy saga. What the fuck was today? I'll tell you what it was. That shit was mama power, okay? Year of the motherfucking imp. I told you. Year of the motherfucking imps. Yeah, yesterday, okay? Listen, I am a mess at this point, okay? I need to go fucking chill for a while now, okay? Thank you all for being here today. I look forward to seeing you again soon for some more content, you know? Oh, you know it, Ziggy, you know it. And I'm just gonna say, you know, if all you imps are having a good time with this and you want to hype it up a little bit, you want to go upvote some posts and repost some shit, come on, let's do that, right? Feel free is all I'm going to say, okay? Much love to, oh, you know I'm gonna, Vermin Hands. You know I'm gonna. Much communal love to all my imps. And just know, this channel is my channel. I am here to entertain you and teach you some shit, and we're going up. Good night for now. Mwah, mwah.